We're here at the Schumacher factory, and we've got Cecil Schumacher, the chairman of Schumacher Racing, and our world champion Michal Orlowski, here to talk about the development process between the Cougar 2 works that was introduced in 1993 and Michal's European Championship winning car from 2024. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Nice to see you, Cecil.
Nice seeing you, Michal. Yeah, very much so. Hey, this brings back memories. That jolly old aluminium pressing, we had been running it quite a long time, and I'm impressed that it was still in use, so full marks on that.
We still actually use aluminium chassis now. It's kind of gone full circle.
Yeah.
Steel, sorry.
Yeah.
On
the different color now?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
It's
purple or this one?
Oh, purple by it. Yes.
So just looking at the body shell design, they're obviously very, very different from 30 odd years ago, 1993 to 2024. Which one do you prefer out of the two, Michal?
I must say the shape of the body shell, I prefer the current one with the cup forward style. I really enjoy more edges around the shell, here at the top. This is old school, and I like the paint job. The shape itself I'm not a big fan of, but I was born many years after this car was released, so I think I have the right to prefer this one.
Yep. Well, I feel equally this one is the most attractive shape, and for at the time it was very much in vogue, and I think it still has a lot to be said for it. The cars, of course, have moved on dramatically.
Yeah.
The number of adjustable parameters that you can get confused with has gone up rather dramatically.
Yeah.
But then that's what the new game is. It's the same as Formula One. It's quite remarkable how talented the drivers of Formula One cars need to be, with a huge number of variables they cope with. We're not in that situation, but it's a similar. It's remarkable, I think, the similarity between Formula One and what we do. It's just got much more complicated, much more sophisticated, and I'm amazed at the skills that Michal have and all the other guys that go racing. I was never any good, but I liked to drive because as a designer and a user of the cars, you get so much more information when you're soldiering around the track badly, but you get feedback, and you can talk the same language to the drivers when you're developing the thing.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when the designer drives himself the car, then he understands more, because watching the car drive around the track and racing yourself, it's a completely different experience. When I drive the car, I can feel something different, or I might not see what the car is doing, since we're on the driver's stand watching the car from above, where the engineer or mechanic is usually standing on the level of the track, so you can see the car rolling and going on two wheels or picking up wheels, which I've from the driver's stand don't really see. And with the adjustability of the current cars, I mean, just looking at the front end of these cars, you can see how much we can change with just a millimeter, half a millimeter on the front end, which we know can change dramatically the lap time and the feeling of the car. I think on the old cars, you can see the amount of shock positions, how you could change that.
Oh yeah, we did.
Nowadays we just have pretty much the same height. We're just changing the angle of the shock, where you could move it all over the place on the shock tower. Same on the rear link angle. You have so many positions
Yeah.
where we only have pretty much 2 positions, and we play with shims,
Yeah.
move it up and down.
Mm.
Obviously, Michael's car is now what we call a mid-motor or a forward motor
Yeah.
car, and the Cougar 2 is a rear motor car. It's kind of down to the different type of tracks that we race on now. What kind of tracks do you remember? Like the grass and the dirt, Cecil? The cars would not be in pristine condition all the time, like Michael's car. The drivers had to work quite hard on making the cars reliable in those days.
Well, true enough. To get the traction on the rear wheels, we wanted the centre of gravity well back, and it is surprising. I think that's probably a much more even
Weight distribution.
weight distribution, but this was more towards the back. Yeah, what about flying? Hey,
On the jumps?
on the jumps. This is the bit that impresses me enormously with what you guys are doing now. The big jumps that I saw 3 humps
Yeah.
under the rostrum at what's it called, the race
European Championships.
in Northamptonshire,
Oh,
Milton
Keynes race,
Keynes.
yeah.
And I sat very close to that, and the bit that floored me, not floored me, but I observed how you guys are
Turning the wheels in there.
turning the wheels,
Alright.
and you are using the gyroscopic precessional force to tilt the car.
Yes.
And I thought that's absolutely wonderful. Good
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah, it's an important factor in off-road nowadays. With the
And
big
do you
jumps.
play about with the mass of the wheel? You could, if you wanted more of that, you'd have to have a heavier wheel.
Yeah, yeah. I know in 8 scale they actually they screw on weights on the
Yeah,
hub
yeah.
to have a little bit more weight over
Yeah.
there. But it's a big factor of off-road racing nowadays, the
Yeah.
control in the air. And I guess back in the days, I remember when watching videos from '87 and these races, there wasn't too many jumps.
No.
It was just dirt and grass and little humps.
I remember when I designed our first tyres, we made this mini spike. It's all about the scale effect, because if you make, there were lots of model cars were made, which was just scaled down real cars, and that ignores the significance of the scale effect, because these actually weigh nothing almost in relation to the full a car of that made full size. So we rapidly learned that the ground pressure is so low, you want tiny little spikes on here, and clearly it's evolved to even more tiny little spikes.
Yeah.
Which is bound to be more. It's all about how many spikes, and so that's a natural evolution to get more performance.
Yeah, nowadays on high grip tracks we require different tires. You see the front tires have so little spikes you can count on the old tires, and now it's just countless spikes, and it's just development every single year or every 2 years. We have a new tire coming out, and we keep trying to find the long lasting and highest performance tire.
Yep, very important. This looks really historical, doesn't it?
I think the rear tire, it's not too bad, because the mini spike, I think I even used myself. Do you remember which year this tire came out, the mini spike?
Oh, very early on in our tyre manufacturing.
Because it must have been, in 8 scale it's still used, the mini spike, I think.
Mini spike would have been, I think, early 90s.
Well,
around the time of that car?
it's all about the tyre thing was all about the first car, the Cat, because there were no tyres available. And we had to go and make tyres. And then I did all the sums and played around in a bit of development, and we realised ground pressure was everything. And that's what got us going on tyres.
Michael, why don't you paint your wing anymore? I mean, we've got a very bright...
Look at this, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I need to ask my painter to do the design on the wing. I actually really like the match of the body shell to the wing. And nowadays it's just a trend in off-road to use Scotch-Brite to scuff the wing,
Yeah.
have a little matte finish, and that's the look nowadays.
Yeah, it's probably marginally more effective. The boundary layer on a thing like this must be a bit different to the boundary layer on that, but you need some very sophisticated equipment to find the difference.
Now there's a trend to make holes in the wing
Yeah,
to allow air through.
yeah.
It's always trying and gain every single thousandths of a second on the track.
Yeah, it's all about tiny margins. So you've got 3 slippers on there, have they?
We have a 3-pad slipper.
A 3-part slipper.
Yes, and we can adjust it from the other side of the gearbox.
Yes.
Which balances the weight.
Yes.
Left to right. And in the kit, the car comes with a 2-plate slipper. But for modified racing on the really high grip tracks, the 3-pad slipper helps to keep it more consistent, cooler as well, because it gets really hot. We have I don't know what back then was brushed motors, so nowadays we have brushless motors, 4.5. I don't know if that says anything to you, but it's it's a very, very strong motor. And the speed of these cars nowadays, it's
the power that you're dealing with must be massively more than where we were when this was made. Yeah. Oh, well, there's a simple slipper here. And with the adjustment on this side, yes.
And that will carry the ball differential as well, which Cecil was very famous for, but unfortunately now we're using geared differentials more in high grip surfaces. But you still use a ball
we still use
low grip surfaces,
yes, we still use Cecil's idea in low grip conditions, and it's very important to have a good performing ball diff in low grip on dirt or even AstroTurf. Even when the grip is not that low, we use ball diffs, and 40 years after, 40, 50 years after, it still works.
So Michael, just explain to us why your tyres from your car from the Euros are cut open. It looks a bit scruffy.
Yeah. This is the car as it came off from the track after A2 in Sweden this year at the European Championships. It's not dirty at all since it was on carpet, so a little different than back in the day. And the race director, they slashed the tire open to check if it was all legal inside and check if it was the correct insert, because we had control tires, control insert. Front tire is open, but there are rules concerning putting anything inside, so they had to make sure I wasn't cheating or trying to gain an advantage in an unfair way. But back in the day, I guess it was open tires at races.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And I think they're all glued on. Yes, very much so.
Which glue did you use? Do you remember?
Super glue, I think.
Super glue.
Yeah.
We're looking at the servo saver there. So
Oh yes,
that was one of your original designs.
Yes, it was, and it served for many, many years. But we were never awfully happy with it. But it was good enough for the time.
And it was used to protect the servo, basically.
Oh, of course. If you didn't have a servo saver, you could wreck the gears inside the servo. So you'd got to have it.
Nowadays, the servos are much better.
Are much better, yes. Yes, I rather like what you've got there.
Yes. A
I'm
very
envious of that.
low
Yeah.
profile servo with a
Yeah,
direct
yeah.
steering arm
Yeah,
connected to the steering assembly of the car.
yeah.
Same with the ESC, the Speedo. I guess it's a lot smaller than it used to be.
These days, the batteries can be 6,000, 7,000 milliamps or whatever you want, and you can just go flat out for 5 minutes. But
Yes.
back in the day, that wasn't possible.
Yeah, you've got to manage it. Yeah, I remember in the early days where you had buckets of water, and you dropped the NiCads in the bucket of water to cool them down. Oh, yeah, happy days.
Nowadays, a little different. We're working also a lot with the LiPo batteries to make them as light as possible, but to have the power and the capacity needed to make the 5-minute run. But the batteries we use nowadays in the 10th scale buggies, we can make probably 6 minutes maximum,
Yes.
and then it's empty because it's so small.
Yes,
It's so lightweight, and it produces so much power.
yes. It's incredible. It's another world. Well, of course it is. It's 30 years or whatever, isn't it? I'm a bit lost for words on how superior this is in comparison with this. But it's inevitable. We wouldn't be where we are unless we had carried on evolving from this delightful motor car to this wonderful one. And that's the journey we've been on, and long may it continue.
I'm very excited to see how the development of this car is in 30 years.
Yes.
And see, then we can compare
Again,
Burger 2,
yes, my
LD3,
goodness.
and then
Yeah.
whatever the name will be in 30 years.
That's fantastic to hear that, Michael and Cecil. Thank you very much for this little chat. Hopefully people enjoyed your insight into what happened back in the day and what's happening now.
Thank you, Cecil.
My pleasure, thank you.